You ever try explaining your dreams to someone and they just don't get it? That's because entrepreneurship is a language, a mindset. And most people, they only speak comfort. I mean, look, who am I to really tell you this? But I think it's important. What I realized is you have to be okay with being uncomfortable. And what I mean with that is when you try to explain to other people your goals, your dreams, what you want to do, they just don't get it. They look at you like, okay, first of all, they don't get it. Second of all, they're probably jealous that you want to do something for yourself, you want to do something different. But then also, when I say entrepreneur has its own language, what I mean with that, when you get into an industry that you've never been before, there are terms, there are words that you've never heard before, that you've never used to use. And these become languages, these become words, a new language that other people around you who are A, not in your business or not even entrepreneurs, don't understand. Okay? So being an entrepreneur, for me, what I realized is, oh my God, I don't know how to say this, but I used to have, and I still do, so many different hats. Okay? I started with the Cleopatra Cat stamp, and then I needed to be the model, me modeling. I was like, why would I ever model? Like, I never loved how I looked. Then I had to do how-to videos. It was such a pain. It was so hard. And then I had to learn how to do editing. And then I had to learn to go to the manufacturer. And then I had to learn to kind of be a designer. And then I had to do all of it. Because when you start, and if you're like me, you have no money. So you don't have the budget like every other big brand has that you can just hire people to do the work for you. That means that you have to do it, right? And with every different department, let's call it that, in every different department that you work at, there's a different language. And language that I didn't even know before, right? When I was sitting with Robin and he would do all the graphic designs and then he would tell me, yes, we have to get the art and then we have to get this and then we have to get that. And I was like, what does that all mean? Like, what are these words? I've never heard that before. So guess what? I'm learning a new language. The same thing when I got into the manufacturing, MOQ this, margin that, blah, blah, blah. Also different language. I didn't know about it and I started to learn. When you're in this entrepreneurship lifestyle, this glamorous lifestyle, you're going to speak a language that none of your people around you will understand. Trust me, I know. I had to do the same thing. So, and then also what I realized is that you don't want to speak a different language. Like everywhere you go, you just want to speak the entrepreneurial language. That's all you care about. It's about business. It's about learning. It's about, exchanging informations. But then when you're around the 9 to 5, they look at you like, okay, what are you even saying? And you feel like an idiot because you're like, oh, you probably don't care and you don't want to hear it. But it's not that. It's because they don't speak your language. They don't understand what you're saying. How should they know what an MOQ is? How should they know what you need in design or manufacturing or all of that? They are not around you. They're not in the same business. They just don't speak the language. Sometimes you get into a room with all these people in your industry and they speak the entrepreneurial language, but they speak it 10 times faster and more in languages and words that you don't even understand. And you feel like, or for me at least, I felt sometimes like an idiot, and that's okay. So, when I said before, sometimes it's really necessary to be okay with being uncomfortable. That's exactly what I mean. Because you get into situations where you just don't understand. But here's the thing. Yes, you can say, hold on, Lyda. I can just hire someone to do the work for me. I have the money to hire someone, but here's an issue that I have. The more you learn, the more you fail, the more you understand, the better you become. Because guess what? No one knows your brand better than you do. And if you don't know how to speak the language, how are you going to be able to explain it to the people, right? So to me, it was always so important for me to learn or fail as much as I can, but learn as quick as I can. And that is going to be your superpower. You see, when we start out with our journey, we think that we need to know everything, because if not, we're going to look like idiots. But actually, if you don't know and you're willing to learn and you're willing to fail, again, you're willing to be uncomfortable, you are going to be a pro in your industry. That was the same thing for me. I didn't know anything about how to manufacture makeup. How do I know? But I put myself in situations, in very, very uncomfortable situations, where sometimes it's also better to just be quiet, because you don't need to speak all the time. Sometimes it's good for you to just be quiet, let the people in the room who are pros speak. And when they speak and you don't understand what they're saying, don't feel stupid asking them questions. What does that mean? And I started to realize this really quickly. It's like I would always ask, what does that mean? Like, okay, but what does that mean? And I would let people explain it to me over and over again. They probably thought that I'm such an idiot, and I didn't care because I needed to understand their language. Because next time, I will know for sure that if I'm in that situation again, I will know what they're speaking. So yes, you can hire everyone you want to do your job, but then you can't even speak that language to the person that you hired. You see what I'm saying? So the more you're willing to learn, the more you're willing to be uncomfortable and being super okay with being uncomfortable, the faster you will understand the language. And you're going to be such a pro. And you're going to see how fun it is. Because then you can be in any freaking room. And no one is going to ever play you. Because you're the pro in that language.